Hey everyone, I got some good news and some bad news. The bad news is that people are clawing at their cages trying to find anything to stick onto BTS to hate on them. The good news is, all that's telling me is that they're back. Oh god, I missed this. The weekly nonsense on Twitter, the fandoms banding together to try to put BTS down but then failing to. Ah, it's like the good old days. But we do need to talk. Before we get into the video, I want to quickly tell you about my digital K-pop scrapbook. 15 pages of fun prompts to draw a journal and document your favorite K-pop groups and memories. If you get it now, you get 2 extra pages for free, just for a limited time. It is honestly so much fun and so versatile. I'll leave a link in the description, or you can go to this link on the page right now to get it yourself. Okay, let's get back into the video. And the first one's about us, armies, so sorry. Armies get way too involved in either loving or hating anyone BTS interact with. There are a few ways that armies go about treating people who interact with BTS, and I think they are all such extremes. They are either treated like Charlie Puth, where armies get super overprotective over BTS, claiming Charlie's in it for the fame and doesn't really care about BTS, creating all sorts of narratives that, while maybe true, are really none of our business. It's true that BTS don't have the cunning, opportunistic mindset that a lot of people in the industry do, but they're also not morons. They've been in the industry for a while and are also surrounded by team members who are a lot smarter than we are when it comes to this. Could Charlie Puth be using BTS for fame? Sure. Could he also be a genuinely talented musician wanting to make music with other talented musicians that leads to mutual success and hype? 100%. Either way, we are not BTS's court appointed guardians, and we don't get to decide who they hang out with or make music with. Not everyone out there is a hungry, hungry hippo, and BTS are no longer those little marbles being eaten. Calm down. On the other side, there are armies who get downright obsessively fan like for people who treat BTS well. Is it amazing that they are respectful and kind to BTS? Of course, and you can show them appreciation by supporting them and their future work. But some of you try to act way too cool about it and go overboard. Like Alyssa, the dancer that worked with J-Hope for Killin' It Girl. We can all agree she's very talented and was nice to J-Hope. What are we gonna do about it? Well, be supportive. If you loved her dance, stay tuned into her future projects. What we're not gonna do is overreact and say stuff like, Alyssa was so good, I wasn't even looking at J-Hope. Or, thank God Alyssa's flying out for the performance, I was scared it was gonna be a disaster without her. Excuse me? Like, yeah, she's mad talented and has great chemistry with J-Hope on stage. But remember, you're still a fan of J-Hope. He's still the one doing all of the choreography, the one singing and rapping while doing the choreography, and also the one who wrote the fucking song. Also, it's J-Hope. He doesn't need anything or anyone to kill it. People who interact with BTS can be respected a normal amount, but allowed to also just exist. The second one I want to talk about is people expressing disappointment with Jungkook's solo venture. First of all, you are disappointed? You are disappointed. The fuck have you done to sit there and be like, yeah, I'm super disappointed Jungkook released his debut album in a language that's probably his third language that went platinum? So disappointing that he became the first soloist to sell over 2 million copies of an album on his first day and got a Billboard Hot 100 number 1. Yeah, super disappointing, eh? Of course you're disappointed. Oh no, was his platinum album not as good as your platinum album? Yeah, that's what I thought. The reason people give is that this is the only BTS or BTS member album in which the members themselves didn't participate in the production process, which is giving entitlement, and I will tell you why. Do you think people blink an eye when other singers come out with songs that they didn't write or produce? No, because they're used to that. But BTS have always given us self-made music with several production credits and huge amounts of writing credits, especially from the rap line. So now all of you take that to be the standard, as if that's a given. But it's not. Many huge artists like Camila Cabello, Britney Spears, Selena Gomez, even going back to older artists like Elvis Presley, Whitney Houston, etc., rarely wrote their own hits. Instead, they have teams doing that for them and they focus on the vocals. But since BTS have always participated in the production process and Golden was the first album where that didn't happen, you act like it's a huge musician taboo when it's usually the standard for the industry. Another reason they act disappointed is because of the lyrics in Seven that insinuates that this 28-year-old, hugely famous hot pop star fucks. Like, I know armies have a tendency to baby Jungkook because of how he is with his hyungs, but can we stop with the, oh, he's scared of women, he's just a baby narrative? Is he a cutie? Most definitely. Does he give me uncontrollable cuteness aggression? 100%, but he is still a grown man. You know what would be weird? A 28-year-old running away from women because he's too shy and bashful. That would warrant therapy, okay? Their next complaint is that it's an entire album in English. Because of how the Western industry has treated BTS and K pop as a whole, armies have a tendency to have this weird us versus them narrative. And when BTS's Korean songs get huge on the charts, it's this big fuck you to the industry who tried to suppress these people of color and their music just because it's in a different language. But that doesn't mean that BTS cannot make English songs. Don't gatekeep an entire language from them. As great as it is that people who've never stepped foot in Korea are now singing Just One Day word for word, BTS can also choose to sing in whatever language they please, and English happens to be the language that tends to be considered the most globally recognized and understood, especially in the music industry. Just because Korean songs by BTS have been pushed back by the Western music industry doesn't mean that we ourselves push back their English releases in some twisted way of leveling the playing field. They both lead to BTS's success at the end of the day. And if music truly transcends language, why can't that language be English? People refuse to see the actual courage it took for Jungkook, someone who's known for being a huge introvert and extremely shy, to make an entire album in English with huge foreign producers who have worked with Justin Bieber, Lady Gaga, Post Malone, The Weeknd, and many other huge artists. He did all of that on his own for the first time despite the language barrier. That's pretty fucking courageous. And then he proceeded to put out a romance song that explicitly mentions sex as a K-pop idol. That's pretty fucking courageous. And also, his choice. But he made Still With You, and I really like that song. Agreed. Who's stopping you from listening to Still With You? It's still there. Instead of shaming him, maybe give him time to grow confidence in his production and songwriting abilities. Let's not forget he has written and produced songs. It's not like he's never done that. He just chose not to for this release. And lastly, I saw someone say they were Aero Ace, and Jungkook disappointed them because the music he made had romantic and sexual overtones. Firstly, if that makes you uncomfortable, no one's forcing the AirPods into your skull. You can totally not listen. Secondly, how are you disappointed that Jungkook made music but didn't personally come to you to gather your likes, dislikes, and feelings before making his music to align with your identity? You expect him to respect your identity, but you won't respect his? Again, you don't have to listen, but also, do you think vegans don't listen to butter? You think I haven't jammed out to War of Hormone while not being a hormone riddled teenage boy? These songs don't have to be about you or relatable to be bops. But again, by all means, feel free to be disappointed. Speaking of being entitled, moving on to people who think BTS are taking too long to release music or content. They've been on a break for so long already. They were not on a break. They were in the military. They weren't chilling with their feet up, they were going through physically and mentally strenuous training and daily lives. If you want rushed songs for the hell of it, there are plenty of K-pop groups who do that. And here's the thing, the whole "a few comebacks a year" system is a K-pop industry thing, not a global music standard. In the West, artists take as long as they need, because globally music is about quality and timing, not just pumping out content on a schedule. BTS are not just a K-pop group anymore. They're global artists. They've broken every box you could try to put them in, and global artists don't operate on the comeback every 6 months treadmill. They release when they're ready, when the music is right, and when it aligns with their vision. Also, BTS literally gave us 10 years straight of non-stop content. Albums, tours, reality shows, Festa, Run BTS, concerts during a pandemic. They never actually rested. And even then, you still got solo projects, soundtracks, brand campaigns, photo-folios during their military enlistment. They never actually vanished. So the too long argument just shows entitlement. Because what you're really saying is, I want them to sacrifice health, growth, and artistry so I can have instant gratification. BTS are at the level where they don't need to follow the rules of K-pop. They set their own rules. Solo stands. You do not know BTS more than ARMY, and you definitely do not know them more than BTS themselves. Stop creating fanfics in your head. Stop spinning these weird little scenarios in your head about certain members being mistreated or unhappy or better off solo. They've said it repeatedly, they want to be in BTS. They chose to be in BTS. I get that a lot of solo stans, especially McNeilline solo stans, are fandom scraps and leftovers of other groups who enjoy BTS, but really can't get themselves and their egos to admit that, so they choose one member to obsess over, because technically that means they don't stan BTS, only that one member. So, their dignity is intact. But every single member has openly said repeatedly that BTS is their home. That doesn't mean they can't shine individually, they've proven they can. But home is still together. They never go to receive an award and say thank you to my fans, or thank you to the Jungkookers, or the Jiminators, or the Venusaurs, whatever you call yourselves. They thank armies. They've never even acknowledged you, so how does that Chelsea boot taste, babe? So when you create these made-up scenarios, you're not protecting anyone, you're disrespecting them, because what you're really saying is, I know better than the people actually living it. You're reducing a decade of brotherhood, sacrifice, and shared dreams into clickbait drama that doesn't even exist. Recently, someone who worked for Big Hit said that they saw Jungkook and knew he was special during his audition, and to make sure that Big Hit, a smaller company, got him, told his dad that they would sign him without needing to audition. And solo stans of Jungkook took that as an excuse to dismiss the story that Jungkook picked Big Hit because of RM, when in reality, the staff member never knew why Jungkook picked Big Hit. And Jungkook himself has said several times that he joined Big Hit because, quote, RM Hyung was so cool.
에서 떨어지고 난 후 러브콜을 받은 소속사 수는
7개 물어봤거든요. 어떻게 오게 됐냐. 근데 자기가 슈퍼스타 K를 보고 떨어졌는데 오디션에서 명함을 많이 받았다. 그러면서 명함들을 이렇게 보여줬었는데 저희보다 컸던 회사들을 다 마다하고 저희 회사에 온 거는 참 신의 한 수였죠.
그때 랩몬 형이 너무 멋있어가지고 가고 싶었거든요. 그래서 이현님도 보고 되게 좋겠다 해서 여기로 가겠습니다 하고 마음을 굳혔었어요.
So you'll ignore what he himself said just because it doesn't fit your narrative. This is how he looks at his members, the ones he supposedly hates and is stuck with, by the way. If you can't accept that BTS is 7 always, then maybe it's not BTS you love, it's just your projection of one member, and that's not support, that's just delusion. Speaking of Jungkook, the man cannot catch a break. And I'm gonna try not to get too mad about these next two because I'm really genuinely starting to believe people are just rage baiting, but here goes. Recently, Jungkook went live and showed us glimpses of his house, which is very dark and mafia fanfic coded. And while some like me are obviously having fun with it, others are going way too far. Now, is Jungkook's house unconventional? By some standards, sure. It doesn't really look like the standard IKEA showroom, but considering who he is, I wouldn't have really expected it to be stereotypical anyway. It's very Jungkook. He's the one living there, he's the one that spends time in there, so why shouldn't it cater to his needs and tastes? But some people have started going way too far with their quote, vibe checks, saying that he seems like he gets up to, for lack of a better term, predatory things because his house looks dark? My house is dark, some of us just don't like bright lights. Some even went as far as to say this. Like, are we serious? This is how you know BTS are good people, because you need to invent and go off of auras and vibes to find them problematic. Sorry, your rental studio flat doesn't allow you to paint the walls, Sandra. It's not Jungkook's fault that he's a rich young guy who could buy a house that fits his current tastes. And guess what? If he wants it to be something else, he can do that. Let the man live. Speaking of vibe checks, people have now been saying that Taehyung has changed ever since he came back from the military, that he seems stuck up, narcissistic, or just weird. God forbid a man work on his body and wants to show it off. And if it's not that, what? No, really, ignoring all of your very, very accurate vibe checks, of course, what has he actually done? Oh, he doesn't act like the version of him you liked? Boo-hoo, he's a grown man who went through 18 months of grueling military training and seems to be thriving, spending time with people he loves and making music. You guys have to be seriously so far up BTS's ass for you to be hating on them for simply living. So yeah, now that BTS are back, I'm sure I'll be back soon addressing some other stupid hate trains people try to start against them. Until then, vibe check the subscribe button by clicking on it, check the aura in the comment section, and make sure my like button isn't getting too stuck up by hitting it a bit. Okay, bye.